Deregulation laws. The Staggers Act by Representative Harley O. Staggers of West Virginia gave the railroads the right to set the rates of hauling freight on their own, and the rules for abandoning unproductive trackage were greatly relaxed. In short, it was deregulation. GP 38-2, number 8045, was one of 233 from Penn Central. The last unit, 3105, was a GP 40, one of 272, also from the Penn Central. Ridgewood was the location on the old Erie Main Line where power had to run around trains to conduct their business, dropping off cars and to also use the Bergen County line. Conrail turned to leasing and borrowing power, such as these Canadian National units. Conrail's inherited locomotives that weren't sold off were rebuilt by the hundreds. Third back is 2501, a 1964-built former New York Central U-25B in new Conrail colors. Despite all the renumbering and shuffling around, 2501 had the same number on the New York Central, the Penn Central, and finally, Conrail. 6520 on the point is a General Electric 1966-built ex-Pennsylvania Railroad U-28C, still wearing its old number, but in fresh Conrail blue. It was later renumbered to 6820. SD45 6133 was inherited from the Pennsylvania Railroad through Penn Central. Conrail gained 174 SD45s total from Penn Central, Reading, and the Erie-Lackawanna. U-36B, number 2973, was one of 4 on Conrail. Conrail bought the 4 that were diverted from an auto train order at General Electric in Erie, Pennsylvania. Edward Jordan was selected as CEO in 1976 to run the new Conrail solution. Jordan was a former insurance executive. He had no prior experience with railroading. Therefore, he had no preconceived notions or favoritisms to one group or the other, green or red. Jordan was CEO until 1980, during the critical first 4 years. Revised agreements between labor and management helped tremendously. Jordan's efforts would pay off. The system had been stabilized, even revitalized in many ways by 1981. On the plus side, long-distance passenger trains had already been passed off to Amtrak since 1971. The commuter trains were still Conrail's burden. By January 1, 1983, all commuter equipment, operational and employee costs were transferred to local and regional transit authorities. This was a huge relief for a road that was just interested in hauling freight to the best of their abilities. These Penn Central FL9s inherited by Conrail were capable of powering trains from either electrical third rail or in non-electrified territory by an internal diesel. There were 56 of them. These were eventually turned over to commuter railroads and off the Conrail roster. You may have noticed several times by now that crews in the front cab frequently toss a paper out the window as they run by. They aren't littering. It's a time-honored practice of giving trackside railfans a copy of their train orders. This Norfolk and Western powered train is actually a Delaware and Hudson trackage rights train on former Central Railroad of New Jersey tracks, now owned by Conrail. Part of the story was the fate of the Delaware and Hudson, or D&H. The D&H was chosen to give Conrail regional competition. This small road was part of the Norfolk and Western through a subsidiary called Dureco at the time, basically a holding company. At one time, even the Norfolk and Western itself was under the corporate shadow of the Pennsy. How things can change. With the 1968 Penn Central merger, the D&H looked for a good merger partner. The D&H was financially in fair shape back then. All the possible merger candidates were not. The Erie-Lackawanna had given D&H useful connections in the past. When the Erie-Lackawanna fell into the Conrail merger, the USRA gave the D&H sizable trackage rights on former Erie lines and former Reading lines. This is a map of the D&H in the Conrail era. The dotted lines indicate trackage rights sections. These trackage rights even extended down to Washington, D.C. No financial help was offered to the D&H. The D&H was very popular for its pleasing blue and gray colors and its passenger train promotion under its president, Frederick Dumaine. A number of Conrail captured locomotives were transferred over to the D&H. The D&H would hang on in one form or another for a time. By 1984, it became part of the Guilford system until bought by the Canadian Pacific later in 1991. The Canadian Pacific would then have service all the way down to Washington, D.C.
Be sure to check out our website for railroad videos of the past with history and great historic views.